Welcome, beautiful souls, to a conversation that transcends the ordinary, a journey into the realms of healing, empowerment, and transformation. As we come to our final Freedom Finale Fiesta, I welcome all of you here to join us and let's see what unfolds here.
So, welcome everyone. Welcome Andrea. Welcome Lynn,
Lynn.
Sonal, Neepam, everyone. I mean, it's so much fun, after these 3 days of beautiful conversations and, beautiful processes that all of our speakers have shared. It's so nice to collect once again in this way and just celebrate everything that we have put together.
I actually I was thinking that one more speaker was going to join, but let's go ahead. And I would like to like this is a question for each one of us. Like, what has been the most memorable moment for you during this summit, Graceful Freedom Pathways? So I don't know if you guys have watched other interviews, but in any case, I mean, even if you were interviewed during that time, if you want to share something.
Yeah, I think that just getting together as a group, it's an amazing event that you put together and being able to share with people and then having this fun fiesta at the end just adds to it. It's sort of like the icing on the cake to be able to celebrate at the end. Not many people do that when they run summits. They don't always have that celebration. And I think the celebration and the fun is an important part of everything that we do. So you always want to celebrate everything you do, even if it's a little tiny thing that you do, celebrate it and have fun and celebrate everybody else around you too. So I celebrate each and every one of you and everybody that's listening at any time. So celebrate and have fun every day.
I love that, Lynn. And I actually want to welcome all our viewers who are watching live, all our viewers who are watching the replay. Let us know in the comments where you are from. And actually, this question is for you too. If you have watched the summit, what was your most memorable experience during the summit? Let us know in the comments.
So
Andrea, how about you? What was the
Well,
moment?
unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to listen to everybody else's talk yet, but I'm really looking forward to listening because every single person whose title I saw, I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's interesting, that's interesting. So it's just a treasure box filled with just brilliant minds that are, you know, progressively leading us towards this evolution that we're in right now. And I enjoyed our conversation, Nilofer, and finally meeting you. And I just think it's just I feel like there's just such an amazing shift of consciousness that's happening globally that I feel like the pandemic actually kind of urged us along in that evolutionary path because so many people have struggled. And when we go through struggle, that's when we have to reach within and really tap into the depth of our soul to get through difficult times. So I just think I feel so happy to connect with like minded souls. And I've always, back when in my 20s, I wanted to connect with people like you. And here we are. It's so exciting that we're all sharing. And, I don't feel so alone in this journey.
Oh, well, oh, beautiful. You know, that this connection, I think for me, has been the biggest part of putting this summit together, the connection that I felt with each one of the speakers that I connected with. And also, of course, I interviewed a few, Neepam interviewed a few, and Sonal interviewed a few. So even this collaboration between the three of us, it was like a beautiful experience for us. It was like so effortless, and like, starting somewhere, someone else took over, and then, they didn't, someone else. And there was just such a flow in the whole thing. And there were days when we were like, okay, I can't do anything today, and that's fine. And then there were days where, like, in one day we got everything done. So the celebration, I think I'm celebrating that the most, being able to
Me
work
too.
in this
Yeah.
way. And I also want to welcome Laurie, welcome to our conversation. And
Yes.
sorry, I actually didn't see you because your face was way down my screen.
Oh,
So I couldn't let you in. Sorry about that.
No problem. It's all good.
no, we were asking, like, we were generally chit chatting about this, like, what has been the most memorable moment for you during this Graceful Freedom Pathway Summit? So, if you would you like to add something to that?
Well, I would just echo what the gal with the red glasses just said, because, I've been on this journey for 45 years, and it can be sometimes lonely. Not so much anymore, because there are definitely more people who not only feel these ways, but are really open to talking about it. And I love and thank you for the organizers, because bringing things like this together for people is, there, it's like there's touchstones for our hearts, and that really matters, especially now and going forward, until we lift ourselves into our right beings.
Mhm.
So
So,
yeah, so thank you.
like, would you like to share a personal transformative experience, that has shaped your understanding about grace and freedom?
Well, my personal experience with grace is that whenever it is present, whether it was someone else talking in the summit, or just by my own heart's request, she comes rushing in, and I can never have enough of that. So I think that's what I would say.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Andrea, would you like to add something?
Yeah, that's an interesting question of, you know, what is grace? What is freedom? All that, right? So it's a big question. But for me, there's what came to mind is when grace is when I like to say spirit becomes manifest in kind of an unexpected way that lifts you up. And what came to mind is for me is I experienced some grace when I was going through a very dark night of my soul, when I was trying to complete a documentary film that I made, The Sacred Run, the Lotus, and the Feather. And I was really doubting myself, because this was when people, would laugh at me when I talk about stuff like this back when I was in my 30s. And I'm 62 now, so quite a few years ago. Sorry, let me just get this. But when I was so I was making this film, and I was meditating and just giving thanks to everything, because I was struggling and I needed to focus on gratitude. So, and I was meditating and I was giving thanks for everything around me, the butterfly, the grass, the cloud that floated by. And I was deep in debt from making my documentary film, and I didn't know how to get out of this financial hole that I had created making this film. And I prayed to God, and I said, God, if you want me to keep spreading the message of peace and love and connection, I need cash, and then to pay off my credit. And then, and then when I went 3 days later, I went on a date with a lawyer. This guy was a lawyer, and in front of us, this car, there were 3 money bills that flew up. And I couldn't believe my eyes, because I think I had $20 to my name at the time, because it was the post-production phase of my film, and I'd spent every last cent. And he said to me, no, I said, it looked like money, didn't it? And he said, yeah, do you want to go back? And I said, sure, but I felt embarrassed chasing after flying bills, right? So I said, you never know. It might be $100 bills for all we know. And he drove back and he got out of the car and he handed me, he said, one $100 bill, two $100 bills, three $100 bills. And to this day, I mean, I threw my hands up in the air and I said, okay, God, I will never worry about money again, because this to me was grace in a, you know, different way than just of the heart. This was like a physical manifestation of cash. What are the chances that I would say, oh, you never know, it might be $100 bills for all we know? And you know, I literally had $20 to my name, and that experience has stayed with me forever.
That's amazing.
So, Lynn,
Yeah, to me, when I think about grace, I think about just noticing and doing things without judgment, just being in that place of unlimited love and unlimited possibilities. And that's when things really flow and flow in a great way. So when we're looking at our life, if we start judging things, to me, it's like throwing our goal upstream. We're constantly fighting the current. But if we notice without judgment, with grace,
Mm.
then it's like throwing our goal downstream and we just flow right to it. And another thing that comes up for me with respect to transformation doesn't have to be some big, gigantic thing. It could be everyday experiences. Um, you could just walk out of the house and a stranger smiles at you and you smile back and you make that connection. That is transformative for both of you. So when we look at things with unlimited love and unlimited possibilities, we see things that we never would have seen before, and that creates some mini transformations, which turns into bigger transformations.
yeah,
When we were talking about community, like bringing everyone together, I remember my first experience of meditation and, meditating in a group. And after that one little meditation, and I think it was not even 5 minutes, it was like everyone, each one of us who were in that group, just got connected to each other from the heart. And all our barriers vanished, all the walls that we always have around us vanished, and we were just connected, and we were willing to be supportive of each other, and we were willing to be completely vulnerable with each other. And so even I'm like an introvert, so I have this time when I just want to be alone, and there are times when I can be in a group of people. But even when I am in my phase when I'm completely alone, I never feel like I'm alone, because I just feel connected, and I just know that there are people that I know I can just pick up the phone, talk to them, or just message them, and they are there for me. So uh, and that experience was really amplified for me in the process of putting this summit together. And in these last 3-4 days where we've been interviewing people live, and it's just been phenomenal, just meeting every person and listening to their stories. And I was in awe of, oh my God, there are so many stories, and so many stories to hear, so many stories to share. And uh, you know um, I was just again aware of just how much I enjoy doing this. So thank you so much for being a part of this experience with me.
Yeah, and also that's a commendation to you three, because you attracted all of these people. So you put it out there, that energy of creating this amazing summit, and you let it happen, and you allowed it to happen. You encouraged it to happen, and it happened magnificently. So congratulations to the three of you for doing this.
Thank you. And I would like to share, like what it like the understanding of grace and freedom. So I am a civil engineer, and I felt depressed, not depressed, but anxious, in 2019. And that actually, it was a blessing for me, I would say, because then I decided that moment that I'm going to leave everything and let me see what life is unfolding for me, so I was willing and I was ready for it, and I just left everything without thinking of anything. Then I was, I mean, I would say that God dragged me, or God was along with me, so he I was I was into a totally different journey, like from being an engineer into healing, batch flower remedies, and then into the world of summits, and meeting all these amazing healers, you know. Um, I mean, and now, at that time, I was thinking, because it was COVID time, so that time I was sitting like in front of computer doing different things, that was okay. But then when this pandemic was over, and I was like, I should go back, but now I'm not ready. Then I don't know how this opportunity opened up for me from somewhere, and I was not even looking for it.
Mm.
And now I started working again. Then I was thinking, oh my god, I did so many summits, what about that? And then suddenly this thing, I mean, we came up with, I mean, this idea came to Nipam. Then I checked, and I'm like, yeah, this is coming from God. Then Nilofar, we all three joined, and then now this is where we are today. So I mean, this is what I call grace.
Mm.
And freedom to do something. Like I was thinking, look, okay, I quit my engineering, I am here doing this healing things. Now I cannot go back and do something, but then again something opened up for me, so again I'm here. So I can do this, I can do that, and I can do everything simultaneously. So this is all amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely. When you just said, that the idea just popped up and it was so overwhelming. If I just go back and think the days we were planning and we were just like so overwhelmed, but we flowed with everything. And I feel that was grace. And now, after being with all the speakers, listening to them, and it's such so amazing and mesmerizing that how everything unfold, it was that's what is grace.
mm. I was
So
sorry, I just had a thought when one of my favorite expressions or quotes is when the mind has been stretched beyond its original dimensions, it can never return to its original form. And once you do get on the path of spiritual path where you're not just living in the 3D reality, but the heart and connecting with spirit, it's you can never go back to that old way because you've expanded your consciousness, and it can never go back into that box, right? And I think more and more uh, we are being, if we're not awake already, then things happen that wake us up, like a fire or an accident or an illness. And as horrible as these things are to happen to people, unfortunately, it's like pressure and challenges. That's how we grow, right? And it's not always a fun process, but most of the growth we do comes from these big, shifts that happen in our lives.
True.
so
So
we all gave some sort of message, like we all talked on different topics. And I mean, how do you envision the impact of the message that you gave? It's going to resonate with our audience beyond the summit.
Yeah, to me, it is the people that were on the summit and heard it are transformed, and they've experienced grace and freedom. And then there's a trickle out effect. It'll affect everybody they come in contact with after that. and it will really affect generations to come, because when one person is transformed, when one person starts doing something different, automatically everybody around them has to some degree, change the way they do things, which changes the way everybody they come in contact with. And it's just this trickle effect that creates massive transformation in a geometric, exponential proportion. So every time something like this summit happens, it creates that ripple effect throughout the whole world. And I heard about this statistic that said that it really only takes 3% of the population to create that transformation. So think about it as we each do this. The people that we're connecting with, we can very easily, within the next few years, get to that 3% and see a completely different world.
And we are not going to keep these interviews with us, so these will be published as podcast also. So definitely, I mean, and the message is going to spread beyond this summit, right?
True that.
Yeah, I just like to add that one of the things that I love to talk about is that we are beings of light. And to that point, Lynn, that when we remember, when we go in the darkness and we find our own light, our inner light, then we become beacons for others. And so often we look, well, so there are times in our life when our light is out and we can't find our light. So, sorry, it's making me emotional. But we need to light each other up, because so many people are still in the dark. And when we live in that state of victimhood or victim mentality, or I'm doing everything wrong, I'm not successful, whatever that is, whatever that inner dialogue is, or external manifestation of that thinking. But when I say to my clients, like, I'm giving you a hand, like, you can't, you have to dig yourself out, but I'm giving you a hand up. And I want you to remember that you are the light. The light is within you too. It's not just me. And this ripple effect, like you're talking about, Lynn, is, I mean, I just am amazed from where I was when I was making my documentary film, and nobody around me really understood what I was talking about, and they ridiculed me. And now I'm like, and I was afraid to speak about these things because I was so ridiculed. And now that I've connected, I've really know that I am light. And now that I've connected with more like-minded souls, I'm not afraid to shine my light, because that's who we are. And I heard about some indigenous people that said that we are evolving into luminous beings, and I just love that, just that word, luminous being. That's who we are. It's beautiful.
And the other thing, that I am so aware of, because I always perceive energies. I'm always looking at things through energies. And I always love to tell people, when we have teachers and healers and luminaries, when I'm interviewing them, there is this energy, and this energy is transmitting. And so, the everyone who actually received an email about the summit, whether they signed up for the summit or they didn't, our energies have touched them.
Yeah.
So it's like really way beyond what we can think of. So that aspect always, I'm like, wow.
So
I wondered if.
yeah, I want to add here, one of my speakers, she shared so much about some of the incidents which are traumatic for somebody, for, and we are keep on hiding such things in our lives. we don't want to show that we are vulnerable, and but she actually showed that, and that gave me courage to, today morning, like I was like, what are these things which I am hiding from myself, let me work on those. So I did a lot of energy work this morning, and I released a lot, and I do feel like, you can say, like I can breathe again today. So just because, I was listening to her, but I mean, she was able to share so much, and she didn't hide her vulnerability, but that gave me strength to face my own weaknesses, and or say vulnerability, and then work on those. So it was amazing.
Mhm.
So Tracy is here. She's my friend, and she's a batch flower alchemist. So Tracy, we were discussing this, that how do you envision the impact of your message resonating with our audience beyond the summit?
Oh, so nice. What a nice question. Uh, I would love for it to, I have a sense when I'm speaking or presenting, or as you just said, like even sending a message, right? It contains codes. The message contains codes that that go inside, they go into a person and they do what they're supposed to do. So these people have now been coded to explore expanding themselves in a new way that they didn't know about before. It's a bit like adding a piece of code to a computer program or something, that there's a new possibility that wasn't there before they heard me. And so I look forward to, I just think back to the time when I first heard someone speaking about this kind of dark consciousness work that I was not expecting at all, because it was in a business seminar. I was there listening to business tips, and someone came talking about consciousness and dark consciousness and archetypes and whatever. And I was just like, it did that to me. It coded me to be open to hearing something new that was completely new for me. And it actually changed the course of my life, quite literally. Just a session like this in someone else's summit seminar. So I know that that's possible. And I just hope that each person will use it in the way that they need on their journey.
Thank you so much for saying that, Tracy, because I've been doing these since 2011, and the number of emails that people write to me, and they will write to me after 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and that summit that you put together, I heard this, and after hearing this, I took this action, and my life is on this totally different trajectory after doing that.
Isn't that nice? That's wonderful.
Wonderful.
I have actually a specific client in mind who heard me on another summit that was about step families, because that's a whole other kind of work that I do, working with fathers who are alienated from their children after a divorce. It sounds like a very small niche, but it's a very big problem. And it's a problem for mothers too. But I work with fathers, and I was very clear in this summit that this is about men, because I work with fathers, even if I know that there are women who are having this kind of problem. My expertise is in this area. And anyway, she listened to the whole thing, even knowing that because from the beginning I talked about working with fathers. She listened to the whole thing, and then she emailed me immediately and said, I have to work with you. I know that you work with men, but please, can I work with you? And really, she was like my star client. She's been through 3 whole packages of coaching with me to make such a profound change in her family. She got immediately back in touch with her daughter, even before our first call. Like, the coding is so powerful that she was moved to search all of my online material, and she did everything that I suggested, not in that one session, but she went and looked for everything I had on YouTube and everything. And she started doing everything right away, even before we met. so that by our very first meeting, she had already heard from her daughter for the first time in 3 years. This was magical for me, that sometimes it's someone's not even looking for this, but they kind of stumble over what you're doing and just say, wow, that's for me. So that's what I wish.
I just want to take a moment to say welcome to all our listeners, and let us know in the comments where you are from. It's always fantastic to know, all the different parts of the world that our message is reaching.
So I think it's time to wrap up. And I would like to ask each one of you, like, what message of gratitude or encouragement would you like to share with everyone, like, who has been a part of this very transformative journey?
Yeah, just be grateful for everything that you hear, everything that you experience, because the right people were attracted to this summit, and they were attracted for a reason. So be grateful that you were attracted to the summit, and then also be grateful for the little teachings that you have and everything that you learned and will be sharing with the rest of the world. So just pick up those little gold nuggets of information and have it in yourself and then spread it out to the entire world.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful that you found me to be part of this summit. I'm not even sure how you found me. Maybe by the grace of God you found me. But I started my life and into childhood and into my adulthood as extremely shy and incapable of speaking my thoughts out. Like they couldn't translate from my head to outside because I was so terrified to speak. And I started pursuing public speaking. I'm an actress and a filmmaker, so I'm comfortable being a character on a stage. But in 2019, I began Toastmasters and I started entering competitions and sharing my message. And I was so terrified to talk about these things because I was afraid of the persecution, right? And the judgment. And this is actually like my third summit that I've spoken at, and so I'm so grateful that you found me, and I want to create summits. I want to work with you more. I want to do my own summits as well. And just a final message is that in 2017, when I learned that that love and the high vibration of joy and compassion expands if you go into a room and you're able to hold your space of light and love and compassion, the lower frequencies rise to synchronize with the higher frequencies. So in 2017, I was like, okay, no more fear. That's it. My job is to transmit compassion and love, and it's just been life transforming for me and hopefully for those that I touch. And I wish you all a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Tracy, would you like to share something?
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me, because it just feels like a great opportunity that I was blessed to have to kind of join this frequency that everyone is on and spreading outward, and to feel so connected with other people who are in a similar space to me, sort of mindset wise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know so many people who are aligned in that way of thinking, so it's very wonderful for me to see how many different possible pathways there are, and to appreciate all of them. And I'm really looking forward to watching more replays because I had to miss most of the sessions. I was just so busy, but I learned something from everybody, And this is a wonderful kind of crucible of personal growth that you've created here. So thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
Thank you so much to all of our speakers. Uh, we are so honored and grateful to have you all with us today. And as the curtains fall on our Freedom Finale Fiesta, the echoes of celebration linger, and the magic of this transformative summit lives on. Don't let this night end without extending your journey of discovery. You can dive into the replays of all the extraordinary sessions with our esteemed speakers. Each moment is a gem, and the wisdom shared awaits your revisit. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to all our listeners. And um, I can't wait to connect with you very, very soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.